Are we live?
Should be.
I'm going to go into the group like we always do to make sure we can see. Yeah, I see us. We are live.
It worked.
Yes, and I'm going to cut out the volume so I can see everyone. I can see Leah joining and some others that I missed. But we are live, and it is 9:05. We have till 9:20.
Okay. Let's set the stopwatch. We'll see how fast you guys start talking.
We can do it.
I'm ready.
You're ready. So welcome to my line sister, Ryan Michelle Bathe. I am so happy that you're here with us. We just were on Instagram Live, the two of us, on Surviving Homeschool and over, as well as on your Instagram, just giving folks a sneak peek to what we're going to be talking about tonight, our next question. And so I thank you for that. Thank you for saying hi to our Instagram family. And for those who from Instagram that are now joining us on Facebook, hello.
Yes, hello. So we're really excited to have you as our special guest today, Ryan, on our continuation of our discussion of, is homeschooling right for me? And many of you may know Ryan from her roles recently on All Rise, First Wives Club, or even This Is Us, or possibly images of her walking with some handsome young man called Sterling K. Brown on a red carpet. But we're pleased to have this actress, producer, Ms. Ryan Michelle Bathe with us, as she has agreed to give us this 15 minutes of her time. Ryan, like us, is currently balancing career, family, and homeschool. So it's great to have you on and get your perspective on this particular topic. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So you were with us about 2 months ago as we had just really launched Surviving Homeschool. And I think we were discussing surviving that first week. So now 2 months later, how would you describe your quarantine experience in 3 words?
Oh my God. Or is Fortnite one word? I hate Fortnite.
I get you.
God help me. I can elaborate, or if you want to move on to the next question. If you want me to elaborate, I can, or I can go on to the next question.
I think, Delisa, you want to go on to the next question?
So, Rye, I feel you on the oh my gods. I feel you on the I hate Fortnite. So, I guess, outside of that, outside of those experiences that we're all, having, I'm curious, you and I had a great conversation last night, and we talked a little bit about this for our sneak peek. Are you considering homeschooling, given what you've seen and what you've experienced? Are you considering homeschooling in the fall?
Yes, I am. And, here's my thing. I feel like you have to, what's the phrase? You rather beg forgiveness than ask permission kind of thing. What we're doing right now, living through this COVID thing, is like a minute by minute, day by day, week by week, right? And sometimes the week feels like days and the days feel like months and the month, I was so afraid that I was going to miss this time, because I was like, last week, I was like, I was going to do something was due on Friday. And I was like, I'm going to do it on Thursday. I will be all good. Somebody was like, I'm going to come over for a social distance popsicle dates. We all sat outside. It was 4:00. And she was like, well, because, on Thursdays, I was like, well, yeah, because tomorrow did it. She was like, no. Today is Thursday. I was like, I'll be right back. So I feel like we're all in the same boat in terms of time, right? So for me, fall is like 7 years away and also 7 minutes away at the same exact time.
Yeah.
So a lot can happen between now and September, or August is when we go back in LAUSD. And also, like, what I don't want to do is be caught flat-footed, because before it was like, this is 2 weeks, just kind of like stay home for 2 weeks and then we'll be fine. And it was like, no. So I've been playing catch up, right? So I don't want to have to do that again. And I think that what we have to also realize is like these schools, this is going to sound very privileged, and it is, but they work for us, right? Like if it doesn't work for your child, for our kids to not go back from August to December till we figure something out, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like that's, to me, I would rather show up December 1st with Andrew in tow and be like, here you go.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of parents are feeling as well.
Yeah.
We've been talking to them a lot. So I don't know how much of this you've caught, but we developed 5 questions to actually think about when you're considering, if you want to really homeschool or not. And first was the why. Why do I want to homeschool? Taking into account them going to the public schools and all the procedures and things they may have to go through. Is that really your why? Secondly, when am I going to find the time to homeschool? Homeschooling has to fit into the matrix of your family. Having working full time or whatever your family setup is, how are you going to find that time to actually put in the work of homeschool? And then thirdly, what about socialization? For a lot of people, it's like, well, how do homeschool kids, make other friends? How do they get social skills, social development? So for those that missed any of those conversations, you can, of course, go back to our Facebook page. But today's day 4 in the series. So what is the question of today?
So today's question, Ryan, that I really want you to wrestle with us on and to give some insight to is the who question. So when we start talking about who, we're really talking about who can I go to for help? If I'm thinking about homeschooling, who can I go to for help? Who can I go to that will give me some great advice? Who can I go to that's going to help me to make this decision? Who can I ask my questions to? And when I first started homeschooling, or actually first started considering homeschooling in many of the ways that folks are today, that was really one of my first steps. I started finding homeschoolers, people who I thought were literally just hanging out at the park, were actually having homeschool recess. And I started to meet these various homeschoolers, and I would just ask them, about their experiences. And so finding a person that you can ask about their experiences is really important. And so really it's how do we figure out who we can call when we need some help along this journey?
Well, I'm just going to call you.
Good answer.
That's that.
That's true. I mean, that's true, right? I mean, we did have a 2-hour homeschool conversation last night, right? Because it's true. You have to find people, that you're trying to get that wise counsel from, those who, you can get that trusted information, that are informed, and also those who can give you, I guess, concrete examples and concrete advice and concrete resources. And that's actually why we're starting this private group up. And I hadn't talked to you about this part, Ryan, but we're starting up this private group where essentially we'll be walking hand in hand with people who are considering homeschooling, so we can really ask them or help them wrestle with those questions of, well, who is going to help me, with this, and why actually do I want to do this, and when actually am I going to find the time given that I'm doing A, B, C, and so, that private group will really allow us to get into the weeds with those folks. And also, we'll be able to bring folks to that private group so that people can have other examples other than me, because our homeschool is just one example of how to homeschool, right? And so having, be able to bring to them folks who, are working full time in homeschooling, people who are single, are single and, need to homeschool or don't have levels of support that we do, and need to homeschool. So having that opportunity to speak to folks who have other different experiences is really important. So one of the other things that really was helpful for me, so first thing I did was ask a ton of people. That was my who. And the other thing that was really helpful is I actually went to people's homes because I personally needed a visual, right? And so I needed to see, what this looked like. And so that was really the thing that was going to help me figure out was homeschooling for me, when I actually got to see what a homeschool looked like.
So, Delise,
right.
We ain't going in nobody's homes right now.
Right.
So we're going to have to do some kind of virtual home visits or figure something, you know, Pinterest, something. We're not doing the home visits.
Exactly, right?
No,
I think, that's such a good point. I think we should do that. I think we should add that to the private group, right? I think we should add where we're gonna, I'll do that. We'll show off, kind of how we homeschool, and I'll ask my homeschool friends to show off their homeschool spaces so that, because that was definitely a helpful thing for me. So we're gonna add that to the private group agenda.
If the museums are doing it, why shouldn't we?
That's right.
I think that's a great idea.
So I actually revealed to Delise yesterday, Ryan, that she is my sole friend that actually homeschools. And had I not met Delise, I would not have exposure to a real family that actually homeschools. So just like you said, you would call Delise. Yeah, she'd be my go-to as well for all this homeschool stuff. But what's great about the idea of the private group is you no longer have to have a personal connection with someone. Right. So we're almost creating a community for people to have those type of exchanges and to actually make more personal connections with people that are in that homeschool community. We're bringing the community to people that are not familiar with homeschooling.
Right. So you don't have to go to the park because you can't. You can't go to the park. You can't go to the museum. You can't just run into people, and again, it's like I did a home birth, right? So I was exposed to this whole midwifery, home birthing community. But in terms of just like on a macro level, I'm in such a small minority of people who even considered it, let alone did it, that it's not like you can just run into people who have, just statistically speaking. So it's not like you're going to run into people or have a friend who had a friend who had a friend. It's not the kind of thing that people are going to just know, like, oh, they can call. I might have a friend out there who's struggling with this issue, but they wouldn't know to call me because I have you. Right. Because it's such a small community. But I hope that now that things are virtual, and like I said, before, we're at one point it was a 10% or 5%. It's going to have a massive jump in the next couple of months because as people realize what August and September look like, it may look very different, and to the point of like, there might be people out there who's a woman or a dad, single mom or single dad. They've got multiple children. It might not be feasible, and they might be in this essential worker. It might not be feasible for them to homeschool. Absolutely. But that's where we come in our community and say, okay, listen, like I recognize that is part of my community at school. And because I still consider myself a part of my school community, I'm going to remove myself from that community so that you have one less student that you have to disinfect for 2 hours. Because think about it, it's going to be a 15-minute in the morning, 15-minute in the afternoon, 15 minutes, and what I mean? Like,
it's true.
Per child, it's going to be at least an hour to disinfect. That's actually one thing I learned.
Those that can keep their kids home and continue homeschooling.
Right. Especially because Delise pointed out, and I hope you talk about this, is like the amount of time that in school is spent just lining up and sitting down and leaving. So much of like what the teachers are going to have to do now. And think about this too. There are going to be so many kids going back in August who may not have eaten over the summer.
Right.
Like, can you imagine what that's going to do for them and their cognitive like functioning when they've been deprived because they were getting their 3 square meals at school?
Right. Yeah. It's so real. Yeah. I mean, that your whole point about being able to for as another why, right? Another part of the why would I homeschool? Well, I want to support my community, so my school community, so that there's one less child to have to, to your point, go through those different social distancing measures for 2 feet. And so, I think that would be someone's really strong why. I guess the other side also, of the who question too, is about, and you mentioned the midwifery, we talked about who like an educational consultant or who like a homeschooler can support you. But there's also that other side of who, which is like who personally can support you, right? Because if you choose to homeschool, you need a level of personal support,
absolutely,
a friend, you know, that's that part, that role that we play, right? If there's a spouse or a partner, you know, some level, some sort of caregiver or someone to, you know, to really be like a confidant, you know, when you're going through it, that won't say, that's why I told you not to homeschool, right? But that will say, I got your back. What can I do to help? You know, I think that's another really important part.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think about my experience in breastfeeding, right? So in breastfeeding, you need, even though you might be the lone person that's responsible for that task, you kind of need a support group. You need at least one other person that's been through it, that's doing it, or you need somebody that's, you know, will bring you water or bring you a pillow, some kind of support. And I think as we're thinking about homeschooling, we need to think about who is our support group through that. We're going to have a team of people that will cheer us on and to give us that encouragement and let us know that we are actually doing the right thing, so that you're not actually feeling like you're by yourself in it.
Yeah.
That actually brings up the next question. Ryan, should you choose to homeschool in the fall, given your hectic schedule, where do you think you'll get support?
Well, I think, I don't know, actually.
You have like family around, you think you might have to get extra outside help?
Nope. We have no family. I don't know where the outside help would come from, again, because I mean, I don't know what the social distancing guidelines are going to be in August. Like, what does help and support look like if nobody can come to your house? You know, I honestly have no idea. Are people, if the social distancing guidelines are that strict come August, then ain't nobody going to school, no way. Okay, so that's first of all. So that's gonna answer a whole lot of questions. But then it's gonna be like, okay, so if they're not that legally strict, that means that we're gonna have to take on the guidelines for each family. Each family is gonna have different guidelines come August, September. And I think the first place that I would probably go to would be my school community. Like, who else out there in my school and to teach the parents that I know is willing to even consider this, you know, because that would probably be the first place that I would go to. And then the second place that I would go to, and again, this would all probably be virtual, but then the second place that I would go to would probably be Jack and Jill. I'm in Jack and Jill. And it's the only other place that I know where there's like a concentration or a group of moms with children that I've been in.
There's no like celebrity homeschool group. There's no like.
If there is, child, they didn't invite me, so that ain't gonna help me much. Nobody say nothing about no celebrity.
You didn't get that invite. It's in your junk mail.
But also, and Delise and I were talking about this last night, like, you know, and this is not to be in anybody else's pocket or, you know, what they got going on at their house, but we do very well. We're very excited. We're very blessed and grateful for everything we have, but we don't necessarily have the maid's quarters. You know, we don't necessarily have the guest home that's, you know, when you think about, I was looking at Kim Kardashian's gym. I was like, girl, you got like 4 elliptical machines. Like, who needs 4? It's just you and Kanye. And he ain't getting on nobody's elliptical.
One for each
shade. But like, you know, but if you have that for just your home gym, then I'm quite sure that you have a situation where you can hire a governess to come in, quarantine them for 2 weeks on the other side of your property before they even are introduced to your children. So I think maybe those things exist, but they don't necessarily exist for a mere mortal like myself. So yeah, I think I would have to just go to my school and talk to other parents and kind of see if anybody else is in the same boat, and then also Jack and Jill and see. But I have noticed that private school children are faring better during this because it seems like the private school, maybe it's because it's socioeconomic, maybe because they're able to get, I don't know what it is, but they have like, our school does not have a daily, like 2 hours of Zoom or anything like that. And maybe it's just Andrew's class, but like right now, it's like he's responsible for going on, doing the work of the day, and then he has the rest of the day to himself.
Right.
And 2 Zooms a week or 3 Zooms a week for an hour. And he like is like a little bit over it. He's so over them Zooms. It's not even funny. Which again, it's like the girls in the class love it because they get to see each other, and he's like, I don't care.
He's like, I'm all over it. I'm over. I'm all done. Well,
he's all done.
Wait, I love that you brought up your school community, because I do think that's a viable option for folks. So when you're talking about, is homeschooling right for me? And you're, like you said, you're thinking about it simply for the fall, that trying to coordinate and work with and speak to and, negotiate, co-op, and teaching duties and all these things, or even just partnering with them to take classes together, online virtual classes together is a great way to incorporate your who, to find your who that's going to be your support system during this time. And so, I appreciate you bringing that, that perspective.
And a lot of people on the comments are appreciating that.
Yes, they're talking. I see a lot of Jack and Jill saying yes for Jack and Jill. And they're talking about your homeschool setup today, looking like you had that going on as well. And so, yes, it seems like there is, folks think that those are really, really great options, as well. And I think that that's probably what we're trying to do with folks through this private group, is let them think creatively about who can support them, and allowing us to allow people to give them examples, of how they found those various support systems, especially in this virtual environment.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many teachers are actually in your school. Like how many parents used to be teachers, a lot of moms, at least 2 or 3 moms in Andrew's class used to be teachers, just like randomly,
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of homeschoolers are teachers, they were like, if I can do this for my, for 23 kids, I can certainly do that, do this for, my 1, 2, and that's how they end up becoming these education consultants, or becoming these, leading homeschool tutorials, or, as Shanita mentioned, is on our, in the comments, these homeschool mentors, right? It's like they're able to bring those teaching experiences to bear on this and be somebody's who, during this, during their homeschool experiences.
Yeah. And also just remind, like, I remind myself of this every day, and not just because I'm a Delta, but my favorite, phrase is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Right.
Like, remind yourself that this does not have to, like, people want to think in chunks. It's like, okay, so if I homeschool, what college is my kid going to go to? He's 6. Like, let's take a step. And you did this, when you first started homeschooling RJ, everybody was giving you the major, and your response was, I am doing this, and if it doesn't work, we stop. It is not our choices in life, while sometimes they seem like it, they're not permanent. You can always change your mind.
Yes.
So have a plan, the who, what, where, when, and why. I love, get your who today, figure it out, or at least just start to like marinate on it, because you may actually not have a choice. Like, let's just be real about what may come down the pike. And different states are going to be in different, different boats. Unfortunately, it's not like a federal response. And, I just think that we should also think about in chunks. Like, maybe don't think about homeschooling from a year from today, but maybe just think about it till Christmas.
Exactly.
Just a very short term type of like, I'm just going to do this till Christmas. The other thing about public school is they can't turn your child away. So if you show up in January, what they gonna say? The whole world has been in a pandemic. What are they gonna say if you show up in January? It was like, I was worried that you guys were gonna get sick from my child. You're welcome. He's yours now. Like,
it's certainly an option.
What they gonna say?
Nothing.
Sorry.
Right.
No.
That's the good thing about public school. They have to take your child. And since you didn't pay tuition, it's not like you're losing anything.
You ain't losing a dang thing. And if your child is in private school, you may or may not be having this similar conversation about, is homeschooling right for me, And I can see how somebody could be like, that's a resource right now. The tuition for private school may be a resource that you want to hold on to, And, don't be ashamed of talking to other people who may or may not be in that same boat.
Yeah. So we are really excited about this month-long journey we're going to take through this workshop about trying to determine, is homeschooling right for each of us, and get into the real deep weeds of some of these issues in that new private group. And during that workshop, we will have real conversations, weekly video calls. We'll probably do
Like this.
just like this, so we can see each other and walk away with specific information that will tool each of us to decide, is homeschooling right for me? That getting together on these weekly calls and private groups in that smaller forum will allow us to answer your specific and individualized questions and give you a peace of mind about your decisions. Even though the decision you make now, you can change, but let's do our due diligence and do the research before making the decision. And we can do a deeper dive into those questions and quell some of the fears, because a lot of us have fears about actually stepping off the platform of traditional school into homeschool. So hopefully we'll be able to go through some of those, and even maybe Ryan would be able to join us for some of those sessions.
Yeah, so so for details, about that private group, you can go to tiny.cc/surviving homeschool. So it's tiny.cc/surviving homeschool. We'll put it also in the live comments later. And then tomorrow we'll be here same time. Tomorrow,
Same place.
Our last one. Brian, you did it. It's who, what, when, where, how. Tomorrow's how. But before we go, I do want you, Ryan, to complete this sentence for us. The first thing my family and I are going to do when we get out of this quarantine situation is.
The first thing my family and I are going to do when we get out of this quarantine situation is, I think we'd like to go to the movies. We love going to the movies as a family. It's so much fun. It's like an easy night out. There's nothing better to me than like walking in, the smell of the popcorn, the anticipation, and like talking about it in the car home. And even we're obviously we're in entertainment, but we're in it because we're fans of it, right? So like, we have so many memories. Charlotte and I's favorite thing is like, did I see that with you? I'm like, no, I didn't see it. He's like, yes, you did. I'm like, no, that was your other girlfriend at the time. He's like, no, because we went here and there, we did this. And I'm like, oh yeah. And then sometimes he'll be like, we did. And I'm like, I have no memory of what are you talking about? So I like that the kids are now in like those memories with us. So I think that's probably the first thing we're going to do. And it'll be the cheaper option.
You're not going to rent
out
the
knows, child. Lord knows. I'm like, woo, we need to get some jobs up in her. We're fine.
Well, thank you so much, Sands, for joining us and for all the laughs. I hope, everyone really enjoyed. I can see from the comments, everybody really enjoyed all of your commentary and you sharing your story. We appreciate you so much for just opening, being public about what's happening in you and Sterling's life in terms of homeschooling. And so thank you for always saying yes when I call you and ask you. I may have had to pull the birthday card on my line sister. My birthday's tomorrow, and we are doing a lot of things relating to tomorrow.
You may have. That was the first thing you said. You were like, hey. I was like, what's wrong? You were like, nothing's wrong. So my birthday is this week. So for my birthday, I want to. So because it's my birthday, I was like, oh, Lord, Delise. I can't really say no at all.
You've been pulling that card all month, Delise. You're supposed to celebrate your birthday for the whole month.
I know. No, you're right. No, I appreciate you, Sam. Thank you for the early birthday gift. Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. And we appreciate you. Thank you for everyone staying for a little bit longer than our 15 minutes. But, it's hard to, when we have such fun time with you. And so thank you, Sam.
Yes, thank
you. Thank you, guys. It's good to see both of you. Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.